Initiator for today's ceremony, Mr. Michael Henry, welcome, as we pay special tribute to Major Lyman D. Graham III on the occasion of his retirement from active duty following 20 years of faithful and honorable service. Before we proceed into the official course of the ceremony, please know we have reserved the last words by Major Graham himself, as we know if we didn't, he'd speak an entire hour alone. To ensure his comments are brief, we brought in a few of Major Graham's special guests, so please hold your applause until all the guests have been recognized. First, his beautiful wife of 13 and a half years, Lisa. Their son, Liam, is no stranger already. Major Graham's mother, Mrs. Sue Graham. His father, Pat. And his brother, Sean. And the wife of Mr. Michael Henry of 22 years, Carrie. Thank you all for being with us today. Thank you for coming. Organization Division, United States Air Forces in your command, Mr. Michael Henry.
I can't imagine the surprise that I felt when I came in here today. I actually thought I was going to the Rosencrantz Bar Mitzvah. So my comments will probably be brief. I did want to read a couple of I got a couple of Western Union telegrams just before coming here when they found out about Dave's retirement. And if you will allow me. First, Dave, I hope you'll understand my having to retract Cindy and my invitation to visit us in our new home. Best of luck, John McCain. And the last one, I can't begin to tell you how grateful I am that you chose to serve the U.S. Navy and then the United States Air Force. General George W. Casey, Jr., Chief of Staff, U.S. Army. Seriously, I am exceedingly proud of this moment, and the reason why is some 10 and a half years ago, I had the pleasure of meeting Dave. We were both attending Manpower School in beautiful Biloxi, Mississippi, and at that moment, I recognized Dave to be a particularly unique individual. A great guy, fun, smart, intuitive, and quite frankly, a leader. So we went our separate ways. We kept in contact via email, and I was trying to break into become a Manpower person. I went to school in hopes that I could become a Manpower person, but I was stationed at Langley, Virginia, and quite frankly, there was a very close-knit, we called them the Manpower Mafia, quite frankly, but and I couldn't break into that. So one day I get an email from Dave. He's at Germany, and he said, got a job coming open. Would you consider coming over to Germany? And I was like, oh, this is a great opportunity, sure. Glad to come over, but I'm a little concerned. I've never done Manpower. I'm not sure I could do the job that they expect me to do at the headquarters of the United States Air Forces in Europe. And he said, not to worry. We're an organization, part of the Manpower office, and basically our job is we do lines and boxes. That's pretty much it. Put a name in this box, put a circle around it. We don't do numbers, we don't have to worry about any of that. And I said, I think I can probably do that. I get over to Germany, and my last set of comments was, it's typical for the officiator to go back over all of the assignments, all of the things that Dave has accomplished over his career. And you'll see them in the program, but what I want to say is really it can be summed up in basically just a couple of things. David has not been afraid of taking on a new challenge. The thing that kind of struck me was that what he's talked about was 20 years of honorable service. That in itself is a remarkable thing, given that 10 years of that he was in the Navy. And a submariner to boot. How we got through that honorably. The things that he has not been afraid to take on a new challenge. He has shown leadership in every assignment. And if you listen to or look at the comments that have been made, he's called outstanding, #1 company grade officer, innovative, visionary. His ability to communicate and to lead other people has repeatedly been recorded. For me, on a very personal level, what I think stands out most is that he has such a positive influence on everyone. You know Dave, you know that he brings energy and fun and creativity and just smarts to the table. I thank him for everything that I have achieved. It was because of his willingness to bring me on board knowing that I knew nothing. And I can't stop thanking you for that. I thank you for your service to our country. You're a patriot, and we owe you a lot. And now, I think we should move on to recognizing properly. Thank you.
Attention to orders. Citation to accompany the award of the Meritorious Service Medal, 1st Oak Leaf Cluster. Major Lyman D. Graham III distinguished himself in the performance of outstanding service to the United States as Deputy Chief of Strategic Plans, Director of Plans Integration, Deputy Chief of Staff, Manpower and Personnel, Headquarters, United States Air Force, the Pentagon, Washington, D.C. During this period, the outstanding professional skill, leadership, and ceaseless efforts of Major Graham resulted in major contributions to the effectiveness and success of several Air Force programs. He led an enterprise-wide validation of 35,000 manpower authorizations and repostured 20% of these positions to ensure the ideal mix of government and commercial sourcing. Major Graham's breadth of experience contributed to the comprehensive review and coordination of 105 joint publications articulating the Air Force manpower and personnel perspective into the Office of the Chairman, Joint Chiefs of Staff initiatives. Furthermore, he led the validation, prioritization, and management of over $5 billion in Project Air Force research initiatives for the manpower and personnel communities, leveraging RAND Corporation research and analysis to enable improved future policy and decision-making. The singularly distinctive accomplishments of Major Graham culminate a distinguished career in the service of his country and reflect great credit upon himself and the United States Air Force. Thank you. Please be seated. D. Graham III, I extend to you both my personal thanks and a sincere appreciation of a grateful nation for your contribution of honorable service to our country. You have helped maintain the security of the nation during a critical time in its history with a devotion to duty and a spirit of sacrifice in keeping with the proud traditions of military service. Your commitment and dedication have been an inspiration for those who will follow in your footsteps, and for all Americans who join me today in saluting you for an extremely job well done. My best wishes to you for happiness and success in the future, signed by the President. Certificate of Retirement. From the Armed Forces of the United States of America, to all who shall see these presents, greetings. This is to certify that Major Lyman D. Graham III, having served faithfully and honorably, will be retired from the United States Air Force on the first day of December 2008. Signed, Mr. Mark E. DeBoga, Senior Executive Service, and General Norton A. Schwartz, Chief of Staff, United States Air Force. At this time, Mr. Henry will now present a farewell gift on behalf of the Manpower, Personnel, and Services Strategic Plans Division, Headquarters Air Force, the Pentagon.
This is one of my favorite kind of farewell gifts here. I requested this type of a gift when I left the Pentagon. I like the idea of the image, and then all the folks you work with get a chance to sign the mat around. It's almost like having a high school yearbook that you can hang on the wall. You know, you can remind me. So I like that kind of thing. Very nice. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the order of the retirement.
Post the order.
Attention to orders. Department of the Air Force, Washington, D.C. Special Order Number Alpha Charlie 960. Major Lyman D. Graham III. Effective 30 November 2008. You are relieved from active duty, organization, and station of assignment. Retired effective 1 December 2008 at the grade of Major with a total of 20 years and 19 days of active service by order of the Secretary of the Air Force.
Thank you. Somebody, thanks for being here. Thank you first for everybody for being here. You guys, it means a lot for you to show up. Folks coming from all over, you know, whether it's down the street in Melbourne or Lakeland or Pennsylvania or Washington D.C. or all the way from Germany, Mike and Terry coming. All, you know, that's a long way to come here to show a little bit of support, or a lot of support, I should say. I really appreciate it. It feels good that you guys are here to share this today. And, just to prove that, we have an open bar for a little bit. Yeah, just a couple notes of special thanks. Obviously, Woody's an excellent orator, and he's not just good at the narration. He actually wrote the script that he's reading, and he designed the program that you're holding in your hands, and created it at midnight last night. We do things well, we just don't do them well in advance. That was at Kinko's at about noon today. These things came out of the hopper, but they're fresh. So that's good. So I appreciate Woody coming down. Woody still works up at the Pentagon right now. He moved into my old office as I was leaving. Woody and I were at Mildenhall together. You'll see that my last assignment in the bio there. Woody followed me from Mildenhall to, not purposely, but just kind of luck of the draw that he ends up in exactly the same office, as big as the Pentagon is, with 20,000 people. He lands in the same 10-person office that I was in right at the Pentagon, so that's kind of neat. And he was kind enough to come down here this weekend, pretty much just for this. He drove all the way down from D.C. to stand here and talk to you folks, and it was just a nice thing to do, and I really appreciate that. And of course, there's Mike. Oh my gosh, he's still in Germany. You know, there's what's the rule? A 3-year rule? Is it a 5-year? 5-year rule. That the U.S. Air Forces in Europe has about civilians staying overseas a certain amount of time. Norm ran up against the top end of that thing, right? What did you do, like 20 years over there or something?
20, 21.
20. And Mike's working on it. Mike's trying to push it. You know, we hired him on over there in 2000, was it 2000? 2001 was it? Early 2001. He's just still there. Every time one of his bosses left, he neglected to mention this part, but I was his boss initially. When I left out of there to come to my assignment in Daytona Beach, Mike got promoted into my job. When his next boss left, a year and a half or 2 years later, Mike got promoted into that job. And that's continued to happen over the past few years, to where he is actually now the deputy division chief there. We're pretty high up in U.S. Air Forces Europe for the manpower. It's a HR requirements kind of a community for Air Forces in Europe. So it's a pretty big deal. Mike's worked his way up over the past few years over there. So that's a great story.
Those are things in one desperate than you need.
But I really want to extend a special appreciation to Mike and Terry for coming here.
Can I just add something?
Yes, ma'am.
You know, we had a nice party today when you actually left, and Lisa, they came to the party, and we were there, and we brought them gifts and food and stuff, and it was wonderful. And Dave stood up to give a speech, and he said, I said, we're going to miss you, Dave. He said, I'll make new friends. Thanks, Dave.
Be careful what you say.
Where are you at for this ceremony?
You might notice, don't open the bar before the Thank you.
Thank you, Dave, I've never forgotten it.
Obviously not. Well, apparently I was wrong. I didn't make any new friends, so thank you for coming back. Anyway, just special thanks to Mike and Terry for coming all the way from Germany to do this, and I do appreciate that. Private station in Hawaii, which is a kind of a dream assignment. But if you check your calendar, 67 years ago was a week before December 7th, 1941. And so I am honored, and I want to point out Mr. Rice here today, that he's come today to be a blessed ceremony. Thank you. A chance to talk to Roland. He's not just a veteran. He's not just I mean, it's great to have say Pearl Harbor survivor, have a real person in the audience or in your presence who's done that. But he's just a genuinely nice guy and a great guy to talk to. He's lived a very interesting life, and he's fun to chat with too. So I've just gotten to know him. Been fortunate enough to get to know him over the last couple of years. So I just wanted to thank him for being here today as well. So almost done. The bar's still open. Quick thanks to my mom and dad. I was trying to think, gosh, they weren't with me on any of these assignments. They didn't help me, They didn't help me study for my submarine qualifications. They weren't really there when.
I need to say something.
Did you go to the bar too before?
He called from Great Lakes after boot camp. He was in beach school, and he says, "Why didn't you make me take harder math in high school?"
Oh, yeah.
Like that could have happened, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I did want to say thanks because I got to mull it over my brain, and the kind of support that you get from your family back home, and the kind of things that end up meaning something over time is during my time in Hawaii, during my time deployed, the phone calls, the collect phone calls came from Korea and Guam and Japan, and sometimes I couldn't tell them where I was even, just say, hey, Mom and Dad, I'm all right, and my ship would pull into port somewhere out in the West Pacific, and there'd be a letter there waiting from Lakeland, Florida, and that was the connection. That was before we had email, that they have today on the ships. So that's the kind of thing that I was reflecting on. I just wanted to say thanks for that lifelong support, and that kind of thing. That really, it means a lot when you stop to think about it for a few minutes, And I just say, even Sean, I want to say, even Sean, thanks for fueling my desire to leave home at 8. There was a real catalyst there that made me.
They just wouldn't die all the time.
And maybe not stick around with that high school. So, what are you doing? Can you do something for me? Can you do something for me? Come here. Come here for a second. I'll hold it in this. Can you hold it? Okay. Very heavy, okay? You got it? Give this to Mommy. Thank you so much. There you go, boy. And I do want to say thanks to my current family, my only family, my only wife, and our only son, 13 and a half years that Lisa's been with me during my time in the Air Force. And that kind of, we'll leave the cow flowers on the table for now. But say special thanks. This part's over, and it's been great. A lot of challenges overseas, a lot of time around the world, and it's been kind of hard from time to time. And we're back home now, and that feels pretty good. There you go. Yeah, it's okay. It's all right. For a ceremony, I wanted casual, and that includes Terry taking it. That's all right, and I think that's my whole list of everything there. That was everything I wanted to comment on. The big thanks for everybody coming, and sincere appreciation for everybody. Tom for sweating, but Tom's a great he's a wildlife photographer. I hope these turn out. I should snarl or something. Thanks for everybody showing up, and we're just about done, and the bar is open, as some of you found out before the ceremony.
Going ashore following 20 years of selfless service to the United States Navy and Air Force. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand as Major Graham retired is piped ashore in the departure of the official party. On behalf of Major Graham and his family, thank you for joining us for this special event. You're cordially invited to a reception immediately following the ceremony at the adjoining bar or call Miss Terry.
This is it. Request permission to go ashore.
Where do you go?